Why in the world would somebody want to be raw vegan? What would lead someone to the understanding of raw vegan or the idea of a raw vegan path? It's obviously not popular in our mainstream culture. Why would it come across someone's radar in the first place? Out of inspiration or desperation? Most of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to be desperation. People are ill. They're looking for a quick fix health intervention. They come upon the raw food diet. Oh, if I do this, then I'll be healed, when that's really more treatment-based thinking in the first place. So at the root of what we're trying to do is heal our biology, either through inspiration or desperation. We're trying to heal the biology, get rid of health problems, or take our health to the next level. And that really is about the body. It's about supporting the body's mechanical process, biological process. The more efficiently the body eliminates, the more high vibration we are going to be. The more we're going to reverse our illnesses, the more we are going to take our health to the next level. It is all about elimination. So somebody might come to the raw vegan diet thinking that they're going to be raw vegan, but if they don't focus on helping the body eliminate consistently over time, they might not get the results they're wanting, therefore quitting, going back to cooked food. Then we have to consider, what is the emotional and spiritual experience they're having with raw food? We're up against our entire society that says we must eat cooked food to be healthy. And all of a sudden we're going against the grain. Even if we come to raw food out of desperation, a very serious condition, chronic degenerative disease, stage 4 cancers, we're still up against the collective consciousness in our society that says we must be eating cooked food. Therefore, the emotional transformation necessary to be successful as a raw vegan is a huge identity change. And that's really where the biggest struggle is for people, is in the identity change. We have to become a different person to get a different result. Now, along that journey, of course, there is a place for cooked food. I think that steamed starchy vegetables are, of course, going to be the most useful, certainly not processed foods or anything along those lines, but there is a place for steamed starchy vegetables in our journey to self-mastery and for healing. So it's about understanding, why are we coming to the journey? What are we trying to get out of it? Where are we going? And do I want to change? The people who are making raw vegan diet failed videos, or even the vegan diet failed videos, I think are people, look, if I'm going to just be really blunt and honest here, I think these are people who are afraid. They are afraid of the implications of what it means to be raw vegan for them socially and personally in our modern world moving forward. They don't want to be the black sheep. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to be someone who stands up against the current of the mainstream and says, no, everyone, no, it's something different. Nobody wants to be that person. Very few people do. We all do here in this talk, which is great. But most people do not. So anyone who's going ex-vegan or ex-raw vegan is simply not courageous enough to stand up against the current of the mainstream. Because on a fundamental level, if we focus on supporting the body's elimination system over time, biologically we adapt to it, and it gives us the highest level of biological health. There's no two ways about that. So that's really the question we're at, is like, are we educating people on how to eat raw food, or are we inspiring people to say, hey, stand up against the mainstream BS that's miseducating us, misleading us? Why is it misleading us? There's a matrix of control on this planet, obviously, big corporations that profit off us, profit off our sickness. There's a lot of people that want us to be sick on the cooked foods and the drugs and the junk food. So what are we doing? I pose the question to us for here. Are we educating simply on the mechanics of raw food, or are we inspiring people to stand up against the identity change? It's standing up against the mob mentality, the horde mentality, marching against health, marching against the alignment of simple natural law, fruit mono meals, the simplest possible mechanical way to help our body, but yet society doesn't support it. So the approach I take in my work is to inspire. I really think inspiring people is cool. I think a lot of people need the inspiration. The mechanics of how to eat raw vegan is something we will figure out over time, especially if we focused on the power of elimination and detoxification. And Spira, that's one thing is my specialty too, is removing mucoid plaque. Of course, I've done it through my own detoxification. I assist people as a juice fasting coach and detoxification coach for the mucoid plaque specifically. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more important than getting that slime and sludge and plaque and biofilm accumulation out of the gut. There's nothing more important, but to get someone to do that level of hard work and sacrifice, what's going to get them there? It's like, for me, it's inspiration. So that's my approach as an educator, as a content creator on social media, is to let's inspire someone about the potential of who they could be if they stand up against the matrix. Do you want to be out of the matrix? Do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? You do get to decide, but ultimately the truth, as bleak and as stark as it is the truth. So we might as well embrace the truth, even if it's stark in ways, to get to that root core understanding of who we actually are and what we're really doing here. And detoxification is absolutely key. I think for most people, the bottom line, this is the crux of my message, is if we just do the sacrifice, do the hard work, surrender our life on the altar of health and healing and transformation, surrender it all, surrender your ego, surrender your goals, surrender your outcomes, surrender everything you think that you are, and you just physically support the body, over time, you'll be a raw vegan. Over time, you'll be a successful raw vegan. There's no two ways about it. There is no ex-vegan. That's a made-up term by people who are weak-minded and have no courage to stand up against the mainstream. That's what I think.
Well said, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often say there's the most revolutionary thing that you can do is to learn how to control what you put into your body, because everywhere you go, you walk up the street and there's a big banner with a big old pus burger right there in front of you, and open up a magazine and here's some scantily clad woman with the big old piece of pizza shoving in her mouth, and they're coming at you at all angles. And so I definitely agree with that fundamental you got to be ready to transform, and I love bringing that revolutionary spirit to this work. Like Brother Air says, you can't live and eat like your oppressors and complain about it, because people they love complaining, this and the government and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, but you live like them, you aspire to be like them. You're eating like these congressmen and congresswomen, and you got the same 32 feet of impacted intestines that they have, that is fueling the horrible decisions that they make that affect our lives. And so and the behavior, that's a thing I love to get into, is when all this stuff happens and the mass shootings and all, and I so sick and tired of hearing people say, what were they thinking? And I'm saying it has nothing to do with what they were thinking. It has everything to do about what they were eating. That's the question. What were they eating? Because I don't know any 100% mucus-free, raw vegan, mass shooter or rapist, or that doesn't happen. I know what all those folks were eating, and so if we want to really we want to solve these big problems of the world, it's gotta be changing what we put into our body.
And starting with that's awesome. And starting with detoxification, right? Because we've been talking a bit, you've been showing the pictures of the mucoid plaques. Do you want to share a bit, Spira, how we can get rid of the devil inside us?
Yeah, so for my approach is, again, just using the principles of the mucus diet, which is you learn how to use the fruits and the vegetables in a way that that brooms out that slime and that waste. And at the same time, there's a lot of people, they're like, man, I'm really craving whatever it was that they used to eat, or or they do a couple days really good, and then they're like, man, I'm really craving the meat and the dairy and that kind of stuff. And I would say, as long as you have those poisons in your system, you're still going to crave that stuff. And so we want to get that out of there as soon as rationally possible. And I know the one thing that maybe we talk about or we do that folks here might not do is the enemas. We like lemon juice and distilled water enemas to aid the body in loosening this stuff up and flushing this mess out. And but really, the transition diet, you can talk herbology, or you can like there's all these beautiful tools that we have, but the main thing is getting on the path and starting that cleansing journey, where I look at the lifestyle is the cleansing lifestyle, transformational lifestyle, where there's it's like, I mean, the only direction we have to go is up, because as humanity, we went way down. We're very, very degenerate, way outside of nature. So we have a lot of work to do, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity to do this work. And but yeah, cleansing. And once you start getting that stuff out and people start passing the worms, and the tapeworms start coming out in the slime, and then I'll get those emails like, oh wow, this was, I didn't, they'll be like, this is real, I didn't know that this was in there. I was like, well, I've been talking about this for 20 years, but all right, I know you got to see it. People have to see it come out of their own body, and then they're like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah. I think the importance that we place, that everyone here places on cleanliness of the body, one of the main reasons, and I've mentioned it before on my channel, but I think the reason that this is so important, okay, Shane mentioned it earlier, touched on it a little bit earlier, is that if you don't know by now, right, this world, okay, ladies and gentlemen, for those listening, this world that we live in, it is rife with evil, okay? Our lives are being controlled and manipulated from the highest levels, from people who do not have your best interest at heart.